woman, you have to pay the father 50 ounces of silver, and the poor woman must marry her attacker, and she's forced to stay with him forever. Keep tapping those likes, everybody. Hello? Hello, Michaela?
You hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, so I was actually just scrolling. I just joined and I did notice like kind of what you've been
How old are you, Michaela?
I'm 21.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So also I think we should also consider kind of like the time frame of what the Bible was kind of made in. Is it
ever okay to own slaves or rape or murder?
I'm sorry, can I finish?
Is it ever okay to rape, slave, or murder?
Can I finish?
No, you cannot.
Okay, so I don't know why you're asking people to come on here if you're not gonna let them finish. It was just a one sentence thing.
You're saying that these things are okay at a certain time period?
I'm saying it was acceptable in that time period, just as a 13-year-old could get married and have kids in that time period. But now it doesn't necessarily apply to now, just as when there's a New Testament made, Jesus came for those specific things to be changed also. You're talking about the Old Testament, which was really passed on, even as the New Testament came on.
Okay, can I tell you what Jesus says about the Old Testament?
I'm aware of what Jesus, he said he came to fulfill the law, right?
He said, I did not come to abolish the law. Not one bit of the old law will change until the heaven and the earth are gone.
And what you're mentioning is not the law, though. It was not the law to
Moses' law.
But it wasn't the law to have slaves. It was not the law to rape. It was not the law to murder.
But
him saying he came to fulfill the law is so that we don't have to follow those specific strict rules. We can have a relationship with him and not so much religion. So if you're going to use these verses, let's use them in context. So it's really kind of crazy to say it supports the following. Like that's
well, God supports and endorses all of these things. In fact, in some cases, he commands them.
And so you believe in God and you think this, or like
no, but you do. This is the God that you worship.
So I know my God. I definitely know my God. You don't even know my God, and you're trying to use verses that you don't really understand the context.
Well, let's get into some of the scripture.
Tell me about my God. You don't even know my God.
Can you just relax? Relax. Calm down.
Relax. I'm just going to finish what I'm saying.
Let's get into some of the scripture, and then we can discuss. We can debate it. Okay. Which topic would you like to start with?
It's whatever you want, honestly. Because it's whatever you are trying.
How about the murder? Let's start with that. Okay.
Okay.
As a Christian, do you think that religious discrimination is bad?
Yeah, I do.
You do? So you think that people who are practicing other religions, they shouldn't be discriminated against?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, God says in Deuteronomy 13 that if you find out that your children, your own wife, your own parents are worshiping other gods, that you must put them to death.
And Deuteronomy is in what testament?
Deuteronomy, the book of Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
Chapter 13.
Old Testament or New Testament?
You don't know if the Deuteronomy is Old Testament or New Testament?
No, I'm asking you to see if you know.
Yeah, it's Old Testament.
Okay, therefore, does not apply to us.
But Jesus says not one bit of the old law will change until the heaven and the earth are gone.
He said he came to fulfill the law. I'm aware that Jesus...
But he didn't. He said, I'm not going to abolish it, though.
Jesus came to fulfill the law. Therefore, we don't have to practice and we don't sacrifice animals anymore. We don't do these things in the Old Testament because Jesus came. That's the reason. So honestly, if you could bring it up in the Newer Testament, that might be a better argument. I'm just saying
so ma'am,
for the Old Testament, it says something about tattoos, piercings, all that.
Ma'am, Jesus says that anyone who does not obey these old commands, it will be the least important person in heaven.
Jesus came to fulfill the law. I'm aware. It's like you're trying to tell me about mine.
But it says, don't think that I have come to destroy the law of Moses or the teachings. I have not come to destroy their teachings, but I have come to give full meaning to them. I assure you that nothing will disappear from the law until heaven and the earth are gone. A person should obey every command in the old law, even one that does not seem important. Whoever refuses to obey any command and teaches others not to obey it will be the least important person in God's kingdom.
Right.
So God commands. God.
That verse. May I ask?
Yeah, Jesus is saying that don't think that I've come to change any of the old law. Nothing is changing until heaven and the earth are gone.
And who is he speaking to? Is it clear or you don't really know?
He's speaking to a large gathering of people.
Like, is there any more context you're aware of, or that's all you know?
It just says when Jesus saw the crowds of people there, he went up on the hill and sat down. His followers came.
Okay, so that's the only context you are aware of, correct?
Well, what further context do you need when Jesus says none of the old law will change until the heaven and the earth are gone?
Oh, you have to look at circumstances and also who he's talking to and why he's talking to them. Just as I feel like if you're going to use a verse from the Bible, you should be aware of all context, because I feel like
what's the context?
Because let me think.
Are you saying that I'm missing context?
I think in general, not just in this specific example, I think people like you, not to be like weird or anything, but people who come on here and are atheists and try to debate the Bible and use
Ma'am, are you saying that I'm missing context?
I think you're taking it out of context. Yes.
Okay. Give me the
Bible out of context.
Okay, give me the context.
Multiple times came to fulfill. You said this. I'm using, what you said.
Michaela, you're saying I'm missing the context, so please provide me the context.
You missed the context of the entire Bible.
Okay, please provide me the context then.
I'm trying to. Jesus,
go ahead.
like
Give me the context for for Matthew 5:17. Go ahead. We can't hear you. Wait, what are you doing, Michaela? What are you doing? Come back. Why are you swiping away from the app?
To my Bible to read the verse.
Well, wait. How do you know that I'm missing context if you don't know the context?
I am aware of the context, but keep.
Well, then where are you doing? Give me the context. Stop going away. Don't.
Excuse me. I'm gonna go to my Bible. I'm not listening to you.
Oh.
I'm going to read it for myself, and I'll make you aware. Is that okay?
No, don't read it.
My Bible.
Wait.
My Bible.
Don't read it. Just give me the context.
I can't use my Bible.
Well, yeah, but what are you doing? Just give me the context, because you obviously.
I'm using.
Wait. You don't know the context?
I'm using the verse.
Wait, you don't know the context?
I believe you're taking it out of context. So can I check?
No, wait. How are you going to say that I'm missing context, but you don't know the context?
You're using the Bible, but I can't use the Bible.
No. Listen, Michaela. I didn't say you couldn't use the Bible. I said you're claiming that I'm missing context. Now give me the context. Hello, Michaela. Stop swiping out of the app, or I can't hear you. Michaela, if you swipe out of the app, we cannot hear you.
I'm going to go read the verse. No, I'll just go grab my.
Wait. Why do you have to read it?
My Bible, right?
Why do you have to read it? You said you know the context.
Because I'm going to read the first, not just that one verse. You can't just read one verse.
Oh, so you don't know the context.
I'm going to. It's funny how you think you can use the Bible, but I can't use the Bible.
Well, Michaela, this is what you just did.
Are you aware of the context? Yes or no? Are you aware of the context? Yes or no?
Yeah, I gave you the context, and you said I'm missing context, and I asked you what it is.
I'm going to go point it out to you.
Well, wait. Why can't you just tell me? So you don't know it? So you don't know it?
I'm going to prove it to you. It doesn't matter if I'm just saying that. If there's proof, I'm going to show you the proof.
Okay, give me the context for Matthew 5:17.
Okay, thank you.
Even though you know the context, but you still somehow have to go look it up.
I'm giving you proof. I can say this, say that, but if it's not backed up, does it really matter?
I would just like the context that you said I'm missing.
Okay, so I'm trying to give it to you. So it doesn't matter if I'm using my Bible or not.
I would just like you to provide the context that you claim I'm missing. It shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't take this long. I mean, obviously, I'm missing it.
I want to read the Bible. What's the issue? I feel like if we just have a debate,
because Michaela,
why is this like tricking you? The fact that I want to read it,
Michaela, because this is essentially what you just did. Okay. Hey, you're missing context. Oh, okay. Well, what's the context?
I'm about to show you in full proof. I'm about to show you word for word. I am not trying to. I'm not trying to misinterpret.
Hey, you're missing context. Oh, okay. Well, what's the context? Well, let me look. Let me find out here.
So
I know you're missing. Wait, I know you're missing context. So let me look it up. Hold on.
Say something.
Wait, that's not right. You can't do that. You're taking this out of context. You can't do that. Well, really, what's the context? Wait. That's what you just did. That's essentially what you just did.
I wanted to read. I believe you're taking out of context. So would you rather me just, bring up an example and not have.
I would just like you to give me the context.
Can I give you the context with proof? Yes or no?
Please quit stalling and give me the context.
I'm trying to read it so I can give you the context, but it seems like that's everything you don't want me to do. So if you want me to give you your context, let me give it to you in the way that I want to give it to you.
Okay, hurry up. You got 30 seconds.
Okay.
Because you know that I'm missing context and you still have not given it to me. You have to go look it up.
So Jesus, right? He's not like the Pharisees. It says this here. He's not like the Pharisees or anything. So he's not going to, he didn't come to obviously change the law, right? And so here it says he did not come to change the law. He didn't come to abolish it. He came to fulfill it. Yeah. So the context is that because he is God, you know that, right? So if he were to change the law, would that not be Jesus contradicting himself?
Stop asking me questions and give me the context.
I can ask you questions. Like
I would respectfully, I would like the context that you said I'm missing.
I just gave it to you.
No, you just asked me a question.
I gave it to you and I asked you a question. So.
Okay, well, everything you just said, you agreed with me that Jesus did not come to abolish the old law.
No, I said what else? That's all I said. Is if that's all you're getting?
That's what you said. You said Jesus did not come.
I'm not here to receive any information. You just want to argue because I definitely said more than just that. But all you're taking.
Okay, give me the context. Give me the context, please.
I just did.
I didn't hear it. Go ahead and give it to me again.
Why didn't you hear it? Did I cut out?
Because all I heard you say was that Jesus did not come to abolish the law.
That's all I said.
Yeah. So go ahead and give me the context.
I didn't say that Jesus is God. So if he were to change the law, that would be contradicting himself.
Stop asking me questions and give me the context.
Okay, so you're not here to listen and you're here to argue, so you can argue with, others. Because I feel like if you're here to receive information, receive it. Because
so you don't have the context?
Ask you a question, I can give it to you any kind of way I.
So you don't have the context?
I just gave it to you. Take it or leave it.
You said Jesus. You said Jesus did not come to abolish the law, and I agree.
I gave it to you. Take it or leave it. Is that all I said, or is that all you heard? Did I cut out? I'm confused.
Basically, what I heard you say was that Jesus was not the Pharisee like the other Pharisees, and that he did not come to abolish the law, which I agree with because that's what Jesus says. And then you asked me a question about Jesus being God.
No, I didn't. So can questions not be used for proof?
I would just like you to give me the context that you claimed I'm missing.
Jesus is God. Because I can say this the same exact way.
I would like the context that you claimed I'm missing.
Without the question tone. Jesus is God, correct. I know this. Jesus is God.
I would like the context that you claimed I'm missing.
I'm giving it to you. If you could stop cutting me off, I'd appreciate that. Thank you. Jesus is God. If he were to change the law, that would be contradicting himself.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What's confusing?
Wait. If Jesus is God, then that means he's the God of the entire Bible, right?
Correct.
So Jesus is the God of the Old.
But you get to ask me questions, but I'll answer. Don't worry about it.
So Jesus is the God of the Old Testament, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so in the Old Testament, Jesus says in Deuteronomy,
this is the God of he's just God. It's not the God of this, God of that, God of that. He's God. So
right. So Jesus is the God of the entire Bible, right?
Are you asking or what?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Yeah, I'm just clarifying. Do you believe that Jesus is the God of the entire Bible?
Yes.
Okay, so if Jesus is the God of the entire Bible, then in Deuteronomy 13:6, Jesus says that if you find out that your parents, your husband, your wife, your children are worshiping other gods, that you must put them to death.
We literally just talked about this.
So, and you said religious.
You said it too. You read the verse and you said it too. He said he came to fulfill the law. We already talked about this.
No, he didn't. He didn't come to abolish the law.
I said he came to fulfill the law.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean to fulfill the law? What does that mean?
As I explained earlier, he came to fulfill the law. So
yeah, but what does that mean?
I'm trying to explain. I understand your question. So he came to fulfill the law in terms of changing the fact that we have to follow the strict rules because now that he's here, he's the savior, correct? He's the savior. So therefore he pays for that. So he does all the things. He pays for the things we couldn't do because we couldn't keep up with the law. We were sinning. We couldn't follow the strict rules. So that's why he came.
Jesus says the old law will not change until the heaven and the earth are gone. And
it's not about it changing. He came to fulfill it. Like you're bringing up the same thing. I'm bringing up the same thing.
Jesus says he did not come to. He says anyone who does not obey the commands of the old law will be the least important person in heaven. So when you first joined this live, you said that religious discrimination is bad. Would
Yeah.
you consider killing people for worshiping other gods? Would you consider that religious discrimination?
Yes, I would.
So how are you going to come on here as a Christian and say that religious discrimination is bad, but then also agree with God when He says that you should kill kids and your husband and your wife for worshiping other gods?
Do you remember what I said about that?
Yeah, you said that Jesus changed the law, but we've already gone back
No,
to
did
that.
I? No. Did I say Jesus changed the law?
Or Jesus fulfilled the law?
Correct. So
Yeah, but what does that mean to
I
fulfill
feel like
the law?
I explained it. You just going in circles, bringing up things we already addressed. I don't
when
understand.
you say that Jesus fulfilled the law, does that mean that Jesus changed it?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so if Jesus didn't change the law, then
That
the old
means
law
we don't have to follow those old laws.
Oh yeah. I've never argued that God is commanding you to do this. I'm just saying God supports that this happens. God supports that.
Absolutely. It's like,
that-
and it's also like,
would you consider that to be murder, by the way?
also, may I ask, like, just as genuine, because I know we've been kind of going back and forth, but so it seems to me you actually believe that,
Believe what?
or you think from your perspective, God is this evil.
Right, like the God character of the Bible is evil.
That's what
I
you
don't.
think.
Yeah, like I see him as the villain because like he supports slavery and rape and murder, and I feel like my morality is better than your God because I don't support any of those things. I think all of those things are bad, but your God doesn't. And do you agree with your God do you agree with your God when God says?
One second. So you believe you think he's evil, but you can't pull up a verse where it's there's no verses you think where he's supporting something, let's say moral, or there's not tons of moral things.
Sure, I can give you plenty of verses if you'd like to.
Picking and choosing. So who's the good guy in your idea? If he's
Like,
the evil
what do you
one?
mean? Like,
'Cause you said he's evil.
are you asking me if I think that I'm better than God? Then yes.
No,
I'm better.
no. Oh wait, you said yes, you are.
Yeah, I'm better than your God and your Bible. Yes.
Okay, so that's
Well, I'm morally superior to your God because I think slavery, rape, and murder are terrible things, but your God does not.
okay.
We can go over it. Like I just want to know, do you agree with your God when He says that you should? Hold on, Michaela. Do you agree with your God when He says that you should put to death your children and your spouse for worshiping other gods?
That's not all he says. So, I mean,
It says
if
someone.
you're saying
It
that's
says.
the only
Let me read it. Let me
thing-
read it. Someone close to you, someone close to you might secretly persuade you to worship other gods. It might be your own brother, your son, your daughter, the wife you love, or your closest friend. They might say, "Let's go and serve other gods."
what
They
verse
are
is
the
this
God.
again? Sorry to cut you off. What verse is this again?
Deuteronomy 13:6.
Okay, you can continue reading. I just want to make sure.
Someone close to you might secretly persuade you to worship other gods. It might be your own brother, your son, your daughter, the wife you love. They might say, "Let's go serve other gods." These are gods that you and your ancestors never knew. They are the gods of the people who live in other lands. You must not agree with them. Don't listen to them or feel sorry for them. Don't let them go free or protect them. No, you must kill them. You must kill them with stones. You be the first one to pick up stones and throw at them. Then everyone must throw stones to kill them.
And what version is this?
Every single translation will say this, but I'm reading from the ERV.
Okay, how do you know every single translation is going to say this? Because the
because
translation I'm saying reading doesn't say that. But what translation?
Oh, really? The translation you're reading does not say to kill your family for worshiping other gods?
No, and it does not say.
Okay, what's it say?
Kill them, or
What does it say?
It does say.
Go ahead, read Deuteronomy 13, starting with verse 6.
Similarly, if one of your relatives, even one of your own siblings or son or daughter, or your dear spouse or best friend entices you secretly, if someone like that says, "Come on, we should follow and worship other gods," one neither that nor or your ancestors have experienced God from all over neighboring peoples, whether nearby or far away, from one end of the earth to another, do not give in to them, do not obey them, do not have mercy on them, do not have compassion on them, and do not protect them. Instead, you must execute them.
What was that?
Execute them.
Oh, what? Put them to death? You just said your Bible did not say to do that, but you lied. Michaela, we can't
hear me. So
you just lied,
to
Michaela.
read the Bible, excuse me. To read the Bible, you must understand there are symbols and there's symbols. So if you take everything literal, of course you're going to think the Bible is contradicting itself. Of course you're going to think.
So this is not literal. This is a metaphor.
It could be. I'm not 100% aware, but I do know it is the Old Testament.
Okay, so what method do you use to determine which parts of the Bible are metaphorical
You
and
got
which
to read
parts
the
are literal?
whole thing. You got to read the whole chapter. You got to read the context.
Tell me how you know. Tell me how you know.
I'm trying to tell you. If you're going to ask me a question, let me answer. I'm trying to tell you.
What method do you use to determine which verses
You
are
got to
metaphorical?
read the whole thing. You picking and choosing verses.
So are you saying there's going to be a verse that cancels out this verse? Where God says to kill your family for worshiping other gods?
It'll put it in perspective to see what it actually is, like what it means by that.
What it actually is saying is that this is what should be done to people who serve other gods. Starting with 13, it says that if you find somebody who's...
like I said, sorry to cut you off, but you're saying the same thing. You're just picking one verse. You're picking one verse and you're trying to prove something, but you haven't read the whole chapter.
So are you saying there's another verse?
You haven't read the whole chapter, have you? May I ask?
I've read the entire book twice. Yes, I don't claim to memorize the entire thing. I don't claim to know every single verse off the top of my head, but I have read the entire book twice. But are you saying that there's going to be a verse that justifies killing family members for worshiping other gods, or are you saying that there's going to be a verse that cancels out the verse that says?
I'm just saying in general in the Bible, if you just read one verse, it's not going to give you everything you want. It's not going to be able to provide a whole. You have to read everything around it. That's also the context. That proves that's context. It tells you what happens. Like you have to read not just one verse and try and go off, because there's tons of things you can probably use in the Bible off of one verse and say, this is that. But when you read the whole thing, it provides more context and idea of what it's really trying to say. Also, let me say this. Sorry. I realize we're just going to be going in circles. You yourself believe you are greater than.
Well, yeah, because this is
God,
wrong. This is wrong to me. This is wrong to me. You are greater than God. You're greater than our Bible. Is this wrong to you?
So you're not trying to change your mind, are you? That's what you truly think, right?
Is this wrong to you? Because this is wrong to me. Like, actually, you agree that this, like, killing other people for worshiping other gods, is that murder and religious discrimination?
You're asking me.
Yeah, I'm asking because when you first came on here, I asked you is religious. I asked you
about what I said. I'm not going to change what I said.
So killing people who worship other gods is murder and religious discrimination. You agree?
I answered that. Yeah, I did.
So then you agree that God supports murder here. God is telling you people to murder.
I did not agree that God supports murder
what?
here.
So did God not say?
I said I agree. Persecuting someone for another faith, that's definitely wrong. Like killing someone who believes.
That's what's happening in this verse. Persecuting and killing somebody for having another faith.
That's definitely what you think, and that's okay.
Okay. Let's read it again. Okay, let me just read it again, and then you tell me what part of this.
And it's like, I'm sorry, not just you, but people in the comments talking about some. I'm not using logic. The Bible.
You're not. You are not. You're being extremely distant.
It's not the only thing that's in the Bible. Logic is not
Michaela,
the only
you are
thing
being
to go
extremely. You are being
that's
extremely.
Okay. I'm saying that's okay. Logic is not
Michaela,
the only thing to go off of, though.
You are being extremely stubborn and extremely disingenuous here. It's very clear. It is very clear what this verse is referring to. It's very. Let me read it again, and you tell me what part of this is unclear.
You don't need to read it again. I heard it 3 times today, but I feel like.
Well, let's go on. Let me ask you something. Let me ask you one more thing.
The only thing I feel like if you're going only based off of logic, this is a book of faith. How are you going to prove faith with logic? I feel like that's y'all's issue for real. Y'all trying to prove.
We're not talking about whether your God's real or not. This isn't a discussion.
No. I'm just saying, and just in general, the Bible is not only logical. That's the thing. That's the issue.
Yeah, of course not. Of course it isn't logical. It has It has talking donkeys. It has a virgin that was impregnated by a ghost. I mean, none of those things are logical.
Okay, but may I ask, do you believe in the Big Bang?
I believe in facts.
So that wasn't my question.
But hold on. You're pivoting. I'm talking. I want to talk about.
It's going to prove my point. I can.
No, because this isn't this discussion, Michaela. This
listen to the whole thing.
This discussion isn't. I'm not here to disprove your God. This isn't about proving.
I'm not trying. I'm not here to prove
but
my
you want.
God
But you.
either,
But you want to get into a discussion about like where we come from and stuff.
No, I'm not.
I don't want to talk about. I just want to talk about your God.
Though, so you can't tell me what I'm trying to say. You're not even listening. I just want
to talk about.
I know you don't believe in my God. It's okay.
I just want to talk about your God and your Bible.
I'm using it to prove my point. So if you could let me, or I'm not trying to.
Let me ask you something.
Or anything.
Let me ask you
a question. You didn't answer my question. Why I got to answer your questions? I don't understand.
Because the Big Bang isn't relevant to this discussion.
But it's relevant to my point.
What's your point?
If you could answer my question, yes or no.
Wait, first I want to know the point before I answer before I know the Big Bang is relevant to this discussion.
That's not how it works. You can either.
Okay.
Because you're making points, you're asking me questions, I'm answering your questions.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is I'm internally critique. If you don't want to answer any questions, that's fine. If you don't want to answer any more questions, I'll just move on.
It's a circle. I just feel like would
you like to answer one more question or not? I'm gonna just move on.
I'm here to make my point. I think that you already think you're morally above God, so. What are you trying to change your mind? Are you here to change your mind? No, right?
You could never convince me that your God is good. Your God,
so you're not on here to change your mind. You're just on
your God supports. Your God supports slavery, genocide, infanticide, rape, murder, all of those things. Your God flooded the earth and drowned all the babies. Your God commanded Amalekite pregnant women to be killed. Your God commanded women be captured in times of war and raped. In Numbers 31, 17 through 18, your God commanded little young virgin girls to be captured.
Deuteronomy, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers.
That's your God. That's your God. That's your God.
That's Old Testament.
That is your God.
It's not really a religion for me. It's a relationship. So you saying
you have a relationship.
This is this. This is this. This is it. It's a law.
You have a relationship with a bloodthirsty. You have a relationship with a bloodthirsty, violent maniac. You have a relationship with a bloodthirsty, violent, psychopath God.
An issue with religion, and that's
that is your God. That is your God.
You have an issue with religion. That's all it is. I see it right here.
Wait. Did your God do those things or not?
You have an issue with religion. And
let me ask you something, Michaela.
But
if somebody saw your mother,
you think humans are morally above God altogether?
I don't know. No, not all humans, but I know I am.
And
I'm morally superior to you as well because you agree with all these atrocities that your God supports.
You're not using it for the right arguments.
Michaela,
it's not proving the point you think it is.
If somebody saw your mother and thought she was beautiful and desired her for a wife and captured her and took her to her house where she cried over her dead parents for 30 days, and then after that he goes into her and forces her to be his wife, at that point, has your mother been captured and raped?
Can you show me where it says stuff like this in the New Testament, and then I'll listen to whatever you have to say. If you can prove all these things about Christianity, because Christianity starts when Jesus died on the cross. That's Christianity, believing in Jesus in the New Testament. So if you can,
I want to talk about your God, though.
How Christianity supports slavery, rape, and murder.
This is what your God supports.
Cool. Then you won the debate. Prove it in the New Testament. I got you. So
you said Jesus was God. So that means that Jesus says that
Testament.
But your God never changes, right? Your God's the same today, tomorrow, and forever.
Right?
Ma'am, why should I care about the New Testament when Jesus himself said not one bit of the Old Testament writings will change until the heaven and the earth are gone?
He fulfilled it. We already talked about this, right?
So the heaven and the earth are gone?
We talked about this.
Are the heaven and the earth gone?
We talked about what it meant for Jesus to fulfill
the heaven?
What's the difference? Christianity's
are the heavens and the earth gone? Are the heavens and the earth gone?
So for you to say Christianity supports the following, then talk about the Old Testament. That's not Christianity.
Michaela, are the heavens and the earth gone?
Jesus is New Testament.
Preach mode activated.
Sure. I mean, whatever you want.
Are the heavens and the earth gone?
We already talked about this.
Are the heavens and the earth gone? Are the heavens
when
and the
will
earth
this
gone?
end?
Are you going to answer the question? Are the heavens and the earth gone?
Did you answer any of my questions? Or
right. You got cooked. Cooked. Completely and utterly cooked.
What up?
How old are you?
So yeah. So
How old are you?
17. 17.
All right, you got to be 18 plus. TikTok rules. Please only send a guest request if you're 18 plus, guys. Make sure you guys are clicking that follow button and go subscribe to my YouTube. The YouTube's in the bio if you want to watch the full live stream. Michaela, if you're still here, if you want to go back and watch the full live stream and see where you were wrong and where I was right, go ahead and go subscribe to my YouTube. The link's in the bio, and you can go watch the entire live stream. I'm going to post it when this live is over.
Hello?
How old are you, Josh?
Hey, how you doing? I'm 20.
All right, what's up? What you got for us?
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify. You say that God endorses the things being done in the Old Testament, right?
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify that what he's doing is setting his people apart to be more moral than the people around them, but not to live up to his perfect moral standards. Does that make any sense?
So by instructing his people that they are allowed to murder, enslave, and grape, that's making them more moral?
Well, sir, no, but with how barbaric the world was at the time, it does make them distinct and set apart and more moral than the peoples around them, basically.
So by telling his people that you can go out and get slaves and own them for life, and that you're allowed to go out and kill people for worshiping other gods, and you're allowed to go and capture women in war and force them to be your brides, and you're allowed to capture young virgin girls, all of those things are a standard of morality for his people.
They're not the standard because God is the standard, but they are a step up because if they were held to God's perfect standard, it'd be over for them. You know what I mean? So it's like step by step. So for example, God doesn't support divorce, but he allowed it because he knows that humans are flawed and can't live up to his standard, right?
If he didn't support it, he would have said, here's a list of things that you're not allowed to do, and I'm going to put this on that list. Like slavery. There's an entire list of things that he said you're not allowed to do, but he didn't put slavery on that list. He put slavery.
So that's the key word, right? He said he allowed them to do it.
Yes, supports it.
He didn't say he
supports it.
Supported it, right?
God gave.
There's a very, very distinct difference there.
Josh, if God didn't support it, why did he say you're allowed to do it?
To set his people apart in comparison to the people around them.
So the people around them weren't owning slaves?
So they certainly were. They absolutely were.
Well, then how is he setting? Josh.
People around them decided to rape a woman or do these horrible things. They weren't held accountable to make atonement. They just did it and went on their way. You know what I mean?
So you're saying that God gave these instructions and rules to his people to set them apart from the other people around them, right?
Absolutely. That's exactly.
But the other people around them were owning slaves, and God told his people, "Hey, you can have slaves."
Yeah.
So how is that setting them apart?
Yeah. So they were allowed to have slaves and handle women in a way that Jesus did not approve of. But
Jesus never spoke out against slavery.
But they had much stricter rules.
Jesus never spoke out against slavery.
Rules around how to treat their servants.
You were allowed to own them for life, and you can beat them with a rod with no punishment as long as a slave does not die.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is absolutely not perfect. It is far.
But God could have just said the same way God said, don't lie, don't wear mixed fabrics, don't eat shellfish. He could have said, and also don't own people as property, don't beat them. He could have said, don't capture women in battle and grape them. He could have said, don't kill other people who are worshiping other gods. No, he didn't do any of that thing. He says you're allowed to do all those things. In fact, in some cases, he commands them.
So when God orders him to kill someone, right? In the Christian faith, if someone kills somebody in bad faith, that is murder and that is morally apprehensible. But God is the author of life. He's not stealing something that doesn't belong to him. All life is his. And whether we understand it or not, he's absolutely free to give or take it. It's a gift. Does that make sense?
So do you think that it's okay to kill people for worshiping other gods, or would you consider that to be religious discrimination?
That's absolutely discrimination.
And do you agree? Do you agree with religious discrimination?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay, so then you must disagree with your God when he says that you can go out and kill people for worshiping other gods.
I don't disagree with my God because
now you're contradicting yourself. Because
no, because at the time there was no way for a Gentile to come to Christ. So what I believe is that they were sent to basically a purgatory until Jesus made a way for them to repent and acknowledge him. But by the standards of that time, there was no hope for those people. Now, in modern times, Jesus has made a way for those people to convert and worship him. So there's no need to kill them or to purge them or any of that. So it's completely different in a modern
let me attempt to point out how you just contradicted yourself again, okay?
Yeah.
Is it always wrong to kill people for worshiping other gods?
Since Jesus died on the cross, it is absolutely wrong. And I know that's
so it's wrong. So
people are going to.
So is it always wrong? So let me just clarify. Is it always wrong to kill people for worshiping other gods?
According to the law of my God, who never changes and was the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow, there was a time when he sanctioned it. When he allowed,
So Josh, is it always wrong?
That already belonged to him to be taken. Then and only then it was allowed.
So Josh, I'm going to ask you one more time.
Yes, sir.
Is it always wrong to kill people for worshiping other gods that you don't believe in?
I answered your question.
No, you didn't.
Jesus, when God sanctioned it, it was right. Now,
I'm asking
it is
Josh.
Always wrong. It is always wrong.
It is okay. It's always wrong. Okay, so then your God was wrong when he said to kill other people.
You're misquoting me. You're not listening. Pre-Jesus, if God sanctioned it, it was okay. Post-Jesus, dying on the cross for your sins and my sins, it's never okay.
But Jesus is God, right?
Exactly.
So then Jesus is God. So that means that God in the Old Testament, aka Jesus says that you should kill people who worship other gods.
He said so before he made the ultimate sacrifice, and not abolished, like he said. He didn't abolish, but he fulfilled the old law, so we were no longer held to it.
What does that mean to fulfill the law? What's that mean?
It means nobody before Jesus had been able to fully live up to the law. But since
what does that mean to live up to it? Like if the law is to kill people who worship other gods, how do you live up to it? How do you fulfill that?
No one could live a perfectly sinless life without going against that ancient law. Yeah.
If the law says to kill other people who worship other gods, how do you fulfill that law? How do you live up to that law?
How you fulfill that is when it is sanctioned by God and he wants to take a life that already belongs to him, not kill, but take back a gift. You are allowed.
How does Jesus fulfill the law, or how does Jesus live up to the law of where it says to kill people who worship other gods? How did Jesus live up to that? How did he fulfill that law?
So I guess you're right,
What does it mean? What does it mean to live up to it? What does it mean to fulfill a law? If the law is you must capture women in battle and force them to be your wives, and so you can grape them, How do you live up to that? How do you fulfill that? What does it mean? What does it mean?
That one has a really simple answer. Jesus never went to war. Jesus never had to be involved in a battle.
Well, well, you said Jesus was God, so that means that he was the God of the entire Bible.
Exactly.
So if Jesus is the God of the entire Bible, that means that he's the God of the Old Testament.
Exactly.
So that means that Jesus
they
is.
Are unified
So that means
in purpose and in everything they do. Yes.
Yeah, so that means Jesus is there when he says to capture women in battle and force them to be your brides.
Jesus as a person on earth, when he came and lived a human life and sacrificed himself, is what I'm talking about.
He didn't sacrifice himself. He tried to hide and he was arrested. He was captured and put on the cross. He didn't climb up the cross like, here you go, guys, I'm doing this for you. He hid and he was arrested and put on the cross. He didn't sacrifice shit.
Well, I'd like to say he didn't hide, he prepared. There's a big, big difference there.
Well, I would just like to see if you agree that actually you did agree. You said God never changes. So God's so God's morality never changes, right?
Yes.
So whatever God thinks is morally permissible back then, it's still morally permissible, right?
Right, but like I said when I first joined, that was not his moral standard. That was what he allowed.
I'm talking about God's morality. I'm asking you about God's morality.
God's morality has always been against slavery and rape and murder. Yeah, no. So let me talk. His morality.
If God's morality was against it,
always been against it. But if
it was against it, he would have said, "Don't do it." God's Josh, come on, you're not being honest with yourself here. How can you say
absolutely honest?
How can you sit there and say that God's morality is against slavery when he gives very specific rules and instructions to the Israelites, instructing them how to practice slavery? Listen, hold on, I'm almost finished.
Yeah.
If God's morality was against slavery, he would have put slavery on the list of things that he thinks are immoral, like wearing mixed fabrics or eating shellfish. Those are the things that God thinks are immoral, and he commands you not to do. So if God's morality was against slavery, he would have added slavery to that list. He didn't add it to that list. He put it on the list of things that are morally permissible to do. And since it's morally permissible for God to do it back then it's still morally permissible now because your God's morality never changes.
Sadly, at the time, slavery and things like that were integral parts of the society, and what the law God gave them was to set them apart morally, but he wasn't ready to completely dismantle society like he did eventually do when he sent Jesus and everything changed.
So the people that were around God's people were owning slaves.
Yes, sir.
And God wanted to set his people apart from them morally, and so he told them they're also allowed to have slaves. That makes no fucking sense, Josh. That makes no sense.
Set them apart morally, so he gave
by telling them that they can do the same things as the people that he believed were immoral.
Stricter sanctions around slavery.
He could have just said, "Don't do it." He could have just said, "Don't do it." You're trying to pull the whole like, well, God's weaning his people off of slavery argument. This is the argument that Christians use, like he's trying to softly end slavery. That's ridiculous, Josh. God could have just flat out said, look, I just freed you people from slaves. You're out here in the middle of the fucking desert. You have nothing. You have no slaves. You were just slaves. I freed you. Now, guess what? Don't own slaves. You were just slaves. Now you're free. Don't own slaves. That's not what happened. God freed his chosen people from slavery, and then immediately after said, guess what, guys? Remember when you were slaves and you were bitching at me and like, why am I a slave? And you didn't like it? Well, guess what? Now you can own slaves. Remember when you were bitching at me for making you slaves and you were like, God, why are we slaves? Well, I freed you, and now you can have slaves.
So when he gave them the laws around slavery that were much gentler than the people around them, what he said, what he said was, this is how you are to treat. What he said was, this is how you are to treat your slaves.
A gentler version of slavery.
Because I brought you out of slavery, and you know how slavery is, so you are to treat your slaves kindly.
No, God didn't. God didn't. God,
Bible, sir.
Josh,
brought you out of slavery.
Is beating your slave with a rod treating them kindly?
No, it's not kind, but let me tell you, it's better than
Wait, stop right there. Stop right there.
The nations
Stop.
around them may have done.
Stop right there.
Yes.
God did not tell the Israelites that they have to treat their slaves kindly. He said you can own them for life. You can even own their children for life, and you can beat the fuck out of them with a rod, and there will be no punishment as long as the slave can get up after a day or two and get back out on the fields. That is not treating them kindly. And the fact that you're on here trying to paint it as some kind of soft, gentle slavery, or trying to like describe it or make it something that it's treating them kind, is quite frankly disgusting, Josh. It really is disgusting.
I'm not saying it was a good thing, but what I'm saying is it was enough to set Israel apart from the nations around them. That's all I'm saying.
So it wasn't a good thing. So you're saying God allowed something bad?
Yes, he did.
So then he's not all good.
That's what I've been saying since the beginning.
Well, then he's not
bad things, but they are not his moral standard.
Okay, and it would not be within the nature of an all good, all loving God to allow something evil or immoral or bad. It would be outside of the nature of an all good, all loving God to do that.
The whole everything you're quoting from the laws in Exodus, Leviticus, and Numbers are about how do we have a perfect God and very evil, imperfect humans coexist until the perfect sacrifice is made through Jesus Christ? Does that make sense?
No, I feel like you just preached for about 30 seconds.
I did not preach. I gave you a history lesson to put everything into context.
Okay. Well, this is still your God. Your God's morality never changes, and these are the things that your God says. God told his people they're allowed to do. God says you're allowed to capture a woman in battle and force her to be your wife. God told the people, the Israelites, that they can own foreigners as slaves for life and beat them with a rod. And you said that that's a soft, gentle slavery, and that's treating them kindly.
I didn't say that it was gentle. I said that it was far better than what
you said. It was a
going on
gentler
around.
version. You said it was a more gentle version of the slavery of the people that were practicing around God's people.
Sadly, sir, it was. I mean, it's sad, but it was.
Well, that's like, this is like the very standard apologetics, Christian apologetics, from people who try to say like, yeah, God allowed slavery, but it wasn't as bad of a slavery as the people around them. He was weaning his people off of slavery, which that doesn't make sense, Josh. How could he be weaning his chosen people off of slavery when they never owned slaves until God told them they're allowed to get slaves? They were just freed from slavery, and God could have said, look, y'all were slaves for 400 years. I just freed you. Do not go out and get slaves. Don't do this. No, what do? He says you're allowed to go and get slaves from the foreign nations around you, and you can own them for life, and you can beat them with a rod. It's that simple. So for you to come on here and try to make an excuse by saying, well, God was trying to wean them off of slavery or trying to teach them a gentle version of slavery, he could have just said, don't have slaves.
I know you're not going to like this, but the Old Testament is not as black and white as the New Covenant. And
when it comes to slavery, yes. When it comes to slavery, yes, it is. It's very clear. It's one of the most clear things in the Bible. It's black and white.
God's view on slavery is very black and white. What they were doing was morally wrong by God.
No.
Yes.
No.
Absolutely.
If slavery was wrong to God's moral standard, he would have put it on the list of things that he commands you not to do. He didn't
put it on the list. He put it on the cross.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, we're not going to.
That's not.
Well, yeah. We're not going to agree. We're not. I'm going to hold the position that for you to try to say that slavery is immoral to God, but he allows it. Well, wearing mixed fabrics is immoral to God, and he commands you not to do it. Lying is immoral to God, and he says, do not do it. Stealing is immoral to God, and he says, do not do it. Right? There's an entire list of things that are immoral to God. He could have put slavery on that list.
Again,
since he didn't put slavery on that list, I'm left with the conclusion that God thinks it's morally permissible to own slaves.
Again, what these laws were for was not to make sure that people would live up to a moral standard, but to make sure that they would be moral enough to be very distinct from the people around them.
But wouldn't have been more moral?
That's why evil had to be purged sometimes.
Wouldn't have, Josh? Wouldn't have been more moral to say, hey, look, don't own slaves. Don't do this.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. So why didn't he do that?
That is God's moral standard, but it's not the laws he gave to his people.
That's the problem I have. That is the exact the problem I have here is that God could have told his chosen people, hey, y'all were just slaves for 400 years. I let you free. Don't go out and oppress other people the way you were oppressed. Don't own them as property the way you were owned as property. Don't beat them with a rod the way you were beaten. Don't do this. You guys were just slaves. Don't do this. It's immoral in my eyes. I want you to be just like me and be good people. He didn't do that. He said, guess what, guys? You were slaves. You're free now, and you can go and own slaves now. That is immoral. That is God supporting slavery. That is God giving very specific rules and instructions to the Israelites on how to practice slavery because he supports it. He condones it. He regulates it. He endorses it.
He's not endorsing or condoning it. He is simply putting sanctions on how his people are to handle it.
Okay, Josh. All right. I appreciate the conversation, Josh. Thank you.
Okay, can I add one more thing?
Sure.
So I wanted to try to give an explanation for your questions about Matthew 5, 17, 18, and 19.
Okay.
So what were your questions around that passage? I'd like to
I didn't have any questions. I read it. I read where Jesus says, don't think I've come to destroy the law of Moses. Not one bit of the Old Testament writings will change until the heaven and the earth are gone. And in fact, anyone who doesn't obey the Old Testament writings will be the least important person in heaven. The guest before you said that I was missing context, and I asked repeatedly for the context, and she wouldn't give me the context.
Right. So first of all, when he says that he will not abolish the law until the heavens and the earth pass away, not one letter, not one stroke of the pen will pass away until all things are accomplished, right?
Right.
So that is true, because why else would we have these in a modern context? Why do we need these laws in Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy? Because they were preserved. He didn't say they'll be upheld. He said they'll be preserved, and they are. I have them in front of me on my Bible right now, and
he also says that they will be obeyed and commanded.
He says whoever breaks these commands will be the least in heaven.
No. A person should obey every command in the law, even the one that does not seem important. Whoever obeys the law and teaches others to obey will be great in God's kingdom. I tell you that if you ignore anyone who does not obey, anyone who refuses to obey any command and teaches others not to obey it will be the least important in God's kingdom. You got that backwards, Josh. Okay. It says anyone who obeys the Old Testament writings will be the greatest in God's kingdom. Anyone who refuses to obey any command and teaches others not to obey it will be the least important in God's kingdom.
So to me, it makes a lot of sense that people that were held to these strict laws of animal sacrifices and festivals and difficult things that we modern Christians don't have to worry about would earn a higher position in heaven. I think that's okay. I think that's all it's saying, is that the people who live by this law will be higher in heaven because they
by what law? By what law? What law, Josh? What law? The people who live by what law? The old law, the old Moses law, the Old Testament
exactly
law.
What I'm
there you go.
about.
So that is why when Christians come up here and say, but New Testament, but Jesus, but New Covenant, but new this, new that. No, Jesus says that anyone who does not obey the old law, the Old Testament writings, will be the least important person of the kingdom in heaven. And none of the old law will change until the heaven and the earth are gone.
Because we have it easier, because we don't have that strict law to uphold, we may have lower positions in heaven. Does that seem so wrong to you?
I'm not really sure. I take it as Jesus saying that the Old Testament is still should be followed. The commands should be obeyed. And if you don't obey them, you're going to be the least important person in heaven. Anyone who does obey them will be the greatest in God's kingdom. And not one bit of the law, not one bit of the old law will change until the heaven and the earth are gone. As far as I'm concerned, the earth is still here.
Well,
so according to Jesus,
the earth is still here, so the law is still here. It's been preserved.
Right. So Jesus says you should obey the old law.
He says those who do obey will have a higher place in heaven.
Right. So if you want to be the So if you want to be the greatest in God's kingdom, keep following the old law, guys, according to Jesus.
So I'm not like a biblical scholar. I'm new to apologetics, but how I interpret this, and I could be wrong. I'm fully willing to admit that. But what I think he's saying here is that because these people were held to a stricter law and a higher standard, they will be higher in heaven than people who are now no longer under that law.
Yeah, so keep following the old law. Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That's what Jesus says.
Read
Jesus says
exactly where you are.
Matthew 5, starting at 17.
Yes, sir.
Jesus says that you should obey the Old Testament writings. You should obey the old law. Not one bit he says, I did not come to destroy it. I did not come to abolish it. None of this old law will change until the heaven and the earth are gone. And anyone who obeys the old law will be the greatest in God's kingdom. Anyone who refuses to obey it will be the least important in God's kingdom. Jesus is saying to continue following the old Moses law until the heaven and the earth are gone. It's Matthew 5:17. Go ahead and read it, Josh. I'm going to move on to the next guest, okay?
Yeah, I'll read it. And listen, I'm coming at this humbly. I don't have all the answers. I just came to give whatever knowledge I did have and make a case. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, I enjoyed the conversation. I really did.
I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah, you too. Thank you for coming up here. I appreciate you too.
You have a good one, man.
You too. Thanks, Josh.
All right.
All right, yeah, that was a good conversation. Everybody keep tapping those likes. Everybody, make sure you spam the likes right now. And make sure you share the live, guys. And make sure you follow me, please. Follow. I'm trying to get to 30,000 followers. I got like 23,000 right now. So I got a bit of ways to go. And also, make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube. The link is in the bio. If you want to go back and watch all my full live streams, they're days I'll never follow you. Go subscribe to my YouTube. Somebody was saying, bring me up, you're afraid. But I don't see you in the guest requests.
Hello.
Hey, how old are you?
18.
All right, what's up?
All right, so you said God approves of slavery, right?
Yep.
Can you state to me what Exodus 21:16 says?
Yeah, Exodus 21:16 says you cannot steal a slave. You must go through the proper channels of buying one. Just like you can't steal a car, but you can buy a car.
Oh, it actually says whoever steals a man and sells him, or anyone found in possession of a kidnapped person shall be put to death. And then I also want to talk about how you said murder is right.
Hold on, Jaden. Relax. Let's take it one at a time. Okay, we're on the slavery, right? Exodus 21:16. A lot of biblical scholars will interpret that as one or two ways. No kidnapping a free person, somebody who is free. Or you can interpret it as someone saying you can't steal people. You must, if you want to own a slave or own a person, you must go through the proper channels of buying them. Just like have you read Leviticus 25:44 through 46?
I've heard. I think I've read it, but I don't really remember it.
So this is God telling the Israelites that they're allowed to own foreign people as slaves for life, non-Israelites. Okay, I'll read it for you. Okay. You may buy men and women slaves from other nations around you. Also, you may buy children as slaves. These children must come from the families of foreigners living in your land. These child slaves will belong to you. You may even pass these foreign slaves on to your children after you die. You can make them slaves forever. So God does support slavery because he told the Israelites that they're allowed to own non-Israelites as slaves for life. When you get to Exodus 21:16, you can interpret that as God saying, don't kidnap someone who's free, like your neighbor or someone who lives amongst you in the nation of Israel. Or you can interpret it as God saying, don't steal people, don't kidnap people. You must buy them. You have to go through the proper channels of buying slaves. Like you can own a car, but you can't steal a car. You must go through the proper channels of buying one.
Okay. Well, I think we could agree to disagree on that one, but I'd also like to talk about what you said earlier.
Hold on.
I want to talk about what you said earlier to the one dude.
Hold on, Jaden. I'm not done with this point. I'm not done with this point. What do you mean you disagree?
I disagree with what you're saying.
So God did not tell the Israelites that they could have slaves for life?
Okay. I don't disagree with that part. Okay, I disagree with what you said about my point.
Okay, but you are acknowledging that God does allow
Because we can have two different we can have two different opinions on something.
Okay.
Because what I read is not going to be exactly okay, so something that goes through my head, right? Say I read a verse, it's not going to be the same thing that you think, okay? I read a verse, I'll interpret it completely different than you will interpret it.
So how did you interpret the verse I just read to you?
The verse that you just read?
Yeah.
The verse that you just read, I fully believe that is completely wrong. Like, that's immoral.
So God allowed something immoral?
Yes.
But then he's not all good.
Well, do you also believe? Do you believe? Do you still believe the Mosaic Law is still able to be used? Because you said that earlier to the.
Well, according to Jesus, yes. Jesus says not one bit of the Old Testament writings will change until the heaven and the earth are gone, and anyone who doesn't obey these commands will be the least important person in heaven. But how can you read what Jesus, I just read?
The old covenant was replaced with a new covenant with the coming of Jesus.
Well, according to Jesus, not one bit of the Old Testament writings should be disobeyed until the heaven and the earth are gone. Okay,
can you tell me what verse says that?
Yeah, Matthew 5:17 through 20.
Matthew 5:17 through 20?
Yes. And after we get done with this, I want to go back to the slavery.
All right.
Because I don't see how you could sit there and say that God doesn't support slavery when he gave the Israelites very specific rules and instructions on how to practice slavery.
Okay, well.
But yeah, Matthew 5:17 through 20, Jesus says, this is what Jesus says about the Old Testament writings. You want me to read it, or do you want to pull it up?
Go ahead and read it.
Okay, this is what Jesus says about the Old Testament writings. Don't think that I have come to destroy the law of Moses or the teaching of the prophets. I have not come to destroy their teachings, but to give full meaning to them. I assure you that nothing will disappear from the old law until heaven and earth are gone. The law will not lose even the smallest letter or the smallest part of a letter until it has all been done. A person should obey every command in the old law, even one that does not seem important. Whoever refuses to obey any command and teaches others not to obey it will be the least important in God's kingdom. But whoever obeys the old law and teaches others to obey it, it will be the greatest in God's kingdom.
What version of the Bible are you getting this from?
Every single version of the Bible will tell you that Jesus says to not disobey the old law until the heavens and the earth are gone. But this is the ERV, but I can pull up any preferred translation you'd like.
Okay, so the NIV version.
Okay, let's go.
Pretty much it says in the first part that you read, what'd you say in the first part? The version that you're reading?
I just switched to the NIV.
All right.
Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. For truly I tell you, until the heaven and the earth disappear, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. Therefore,
fulfilling something is completing something, correct?
So, like, how do you complete when God says, you're allowed to capture a woman in battle and force her to be your wife? How do you complete that law?
Where does it say that?
Well, that's in Deuteronomy 21:10 through 14. But that's a law. That's an Old Testament law. So when you say fulfill means to complete it. The
old Mosaic law, which gets canceled out by the new covenant.
But you said fulfill means to what? How do you fulfill? How do you fulfill it?
Fulfill is the definition of fulfill is to complete something.
So how do you complete that law?
Listen, man, I'm only 18. If you want to talk about all these bigger things, then I feel like you need to talk to a preacher or something about that one. But
listen. Look, so would you like to go back to the slavery, or are you?
Hold on. Somebody in the comments said you said fulfill means to abandon. What?
I don't think it means to.
How does that make any sense?
Like if the law is to buckle up. If I take my seatbelt and I buckle up, I have fulfilled that law, right? Mm-hmm. So if the law is, if you see a beautiful woman in battle, you can capture her and take her to your house and force her to be your wife. How do you fulfill that? How do you live up? How do you
is capturing something not stealing something?
Well, God, that's why some people would say in Exodus 21:16 is referring to free people, but Deuteronomy 21:10 through 14, where God says you can capture a woman and force her to be your wife, that's in a time of battle. So if you see a beautiful,
how do you think we got slaves? Did we not steal them?
No, well,
No
according
matter,
to
even if you do buy them or whatever, somebody still stole them, and it's saying
to me it's irrelevant how they got the slaves. All that's important to me.
Well, I
is
do
God,
think it's very relevant because it says whoever steals the man, sells him, or anyone found in
Right.
possession of a kidnapped person. Somebody
Right.
steals a person that is a kidnapped person shall be put to death.
Yeah, so don't steal the slave. You must buy it. Just like it says, you may buy men and women slaves from the nations around you. You also may buy children as slaves. You can't steal them. You must buy them. You have to go through the proper channels of getting a slave. Just like you can't steal a car, but you can buy a car. So if you ask,
It also says anyone found in possession of the kidnapped person.
right?
shall be put to death.
Yeah, if you're found in possession of a person you stole and you didn't pay for, you're going to be put to death.
Did you not read the whole? Did you not read the whole thing? It says whoever steals a man then sells him, even if you didn't sell him yourself, whoever is found in possession of a kidnapped person shall be put to death.
Yeah, so like if you steal a slave and sell him, you didn't pay for that slave. If you buy the slave and then you want to sell him, that's perfectly fine. But if you steal a slave,
Even if you bought him, you would still be put to death.
no, right here, God says you can.
That's completely what it says right there.
No, it says if you steal them. It doesn't say if you buy them.
Lord.
Jaden, where does it say if you buy a slave, you must be put to death?
That's completely what I interpreted as. Whoever steals a man and sells him.
It doesn't say buy.
You sell him to somebody. You sell the slave to somebody, okay?
It doesn't say if you buy a slave, you be put to death.
It doesn't say that exactly. Like many other things don't say stuff exactly. It says anyone found in the possession of a kidnapped person shall be put to death.
God says you're allowed to buy slaves. In Leviticus 25, 44 through 46, the Israelites are allowed to buy non-Israelites and own them for life.
Well, Leviticus is also a very contradicting chapter.
Whoa, hold on. Are you saying the Bible has
Leviticus very much.
Are you saying the Bible has contradictions?
Yes, a lot of the Bible has contradictions
Whoa.
because the Bible was written by man. It wasn't written exactly by God.
Oh, so the Bible is not reliable.
That's not what I'm saying right there.
Whoa, wait. If the Bible is not reliable, then it has no contradictions, right?
I said much of the Bible is contradicting because
then it's
written
not
by
reliable.
Man doesn't know how exactly to explain it because God, he empowers them, however you want to put it. He gives them the knowledge or whatever to put in the Bible, but man can twist the word however he wants to.
Wait, so is the Bible the reliable word of God or not?
Yes, a lot of it is. A lot of it's not.
Well, no,
it
like
depends.
either the entire Bible is the reliable word of God or it isn't. And if it isn't, then the Bible is not reliable. How do you determine which parts of the Bible are reliable and which parts aren't?
Because if you look at Leviticus, it literally contradicts itself right here in Exodus 21:16. Because
No, it doesn't.
Exodus 21:16 says in terminology, it says pretty much that slavery is wrong in any way. Because in slavery, you are stealing a person, and then if you buy that person, it's still wrong because you are in possession of the kidnapped person, and you shall be put to death.
It's not wrong. God says you are allowed to buy slaves. I've already read it to you.
Leviticus gets contradicted by Exodus.
Well, this is the first time I've ever had a Christian tell me that this is a contradiction, and I'm an atheist telling you no, it's not. Because every mainstream biblical scholar will tell you that Exodus 21:16 is laying down laws for you must go through the proper channels of buying slaves. You cannot steal or kidnap a person and sell them as a slave. You must buy a slave from like a slave trade or like a slave market. You can't go and steal.
Even if it does go through a slave trade, the slave is still stolen.
Yeah, but that's not important to God because that's not his people who are doing those things. God does.
Apparently, it's important in Exodus 21:16.
Well, no, because God doesn't want his people to steal or kidnap. He wants you to buy them through the proper channels.
The person who is selling them stole them, and then anyone found a possession.
Yeah, and you'll be put to death for that. You'll be put to death for that. You cannot steal people. You have to buy them.
Who are you buying them from? The slave traders? Correct or wrong? Okay.
From the other nations around you. You may buy men and women slaves.
So the other nations, how did they get the slaves?
That to me, that's irrelevant. The only thing that's
we're just gonna get
Jaden.
nowhere with this if you're just not going to listen to any of the points that I'm saying right here.
Jaden, the only thing that's relevant to me is whether or not God supports slavery. Do you agree or disagree that God supports
He does
his
not
people?
support slavery at all.
So did God tell the Israelites that they're allowed to own non-Israelites as slaves for life?
He could have said it, but Leviticus. Did you
He
say
did.
That wasn't, you said that was in Leviticus. You said that was in Leviticus, right?
Let me read it to you.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
All right, you said you were going to read it. Please read it.
Okay, you may buy men and women slaves from the nations around you. Also, you may buy children as slaves. These children must come from the families of foreigners living in your land. These child slaves will belong to you. You may even pass these foreign slaves on to your children after you die. You can make them slaves forever. So
Okay,
God supports God supports slavery.
Okay, but listen, also Exodus 21:16, bro. Listen, you literally, okay, the slave traders that you were buying them from, you say you go through the proper channels, right? How did the slave traders get those slaves?
They're buying them from the foreign nations around them.
And
God
how did the foreign nations get them?
That the Bible does not specify how the foreign nations got their slaves. That's why it's irrelevant.
But me and you would know exactly how they got them. They stole them.
Okay, but that's irrelevant to the conversation.
It's not irrelevant because we're both talking about slavery right now. It's not relevant at all.
But we're talking about whether God supports slavery. That's the topic of the conversation. Not where the slaves.
We're reading two things out of the Bible, which is God's words.
Okay, so which one is it? Does God support slavery or does he not?
No, he does not.
So when God told the Israelites they're allowed to own non-Israelites as slaves for life, you're telling me that's a lie?
I'm not saying it's a lie, but I am saying man can twist anything.
Well, how about you read it?
Okay, so if we're reading everything out of Leviticus, do you believe being gay is wrong? Because you know what it says in Leviticus?
No,
Leviticus
I don't.
Exactly. So you're just contradicting yourself. If you're not going to believe one thing, and if you're not going to believe one thing, if you're not going to believe one thing in the chapter, then don't believe anything in it.
Jaden, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in your God. This is your God. This is an internal critique on your belief system.
Exactly. If you're going to take something out of that part of the Bible, then you don't believe in it.
Slavery is wrong.
Don't take it at all. Don't
slavery,
use that at all.
Jaden, slavery is wrong, but God allows you.
No shit, it's wrong. It's immoral. It's completely immoral.
Okay, so God is immoral. Then God supports something that is immoral.
Exactly what I said. You're contradicting yourself. Okay, bro. Okay, buddy.
Jaden, relax.
You're just being completely ignorant to everything I'm saying.
Relax.
You're not answering a single question. You're answering my questions with questions. We're gonna get nowhere with this conversation. I'm telling you that right now.
Violin.
We're gonna get nowhere because you're just answering my questions with more questions.
Tiny violin until you're done crying.
Yeah.
Okay, relax, Jaden. Relax. Okay, slavery is
until you lose some weight.
Oh, okay, there it is. There's the Christian love. Now listen.
Yeah, there's
slavery.
Christian love, gluttony, buddy.
Oh, Jesus will be proud of that. Jesus will be proud of you.
Yes, he will.
Now listen.
You have gluttony.
Now listen.
Sin of gluttony.
Slavery is immoral. I agree, and I also agree that God instructs the Israelites that they can have slaves. Being gay is not wrong. But God thinks it is. He commands them to be put to death.
Okay, so you don't believe something in one book of the Bible, okay?
I don't believe any of this shit, Jaden. This is not my book.
Okay.
This is your book.
If you don't believe some shit, then don't. Oh my God, bro.
This is Jaden.
We're not going to get anywhere because we're not going to get anywhere at all.
Do you know what an internal critique is?
We're not going to get anywhere at all because all you're doing is trying to contradict everything.
Do you know?
And then I'm contradicting, bro. We're just not going to get anywhere. We're just not going to get anywhere at all.
Do you know what an internal?
At all. I'm telling you right now because you just keep trying to contradict everything. Go ahead.
Do you know what an internal critique is?
Go ahead, tell me.
That's exactly why you're getting so upset right now, because you don't know what that is. Okay.
Go ahead, tell me.
An internal critique is I am talking to you about your belief system. I'm trying to get you to question. I'm trying to get you to internally critique your own beliefs. I'm trying to make you think, why do I worship this God? What does this God want me to do? What is the nature of my God? This is your God. This is your Bible. These aren't my beliefs. These are your beliefs.
Okay, I'm saying I don't believe anything in Leviticus because I believe slavery is completely wrong, and Leviticus completely contradicts itself by saying slavery is right.
Okay, well, I'm only looking to speak with people who believe that the Bible is the reliable Word of God. You don't think that
the Bible is a reliable Word of God. That doesn't mean I believe the whole Bible is. That doesn't believe I mean the whole Bible. So the Bible is reliable and it isn't at the same time? That's a contradiction. Okay, somebody just said God loves misogyny. Can you explain what that means? Like what?
You don't know what misogyny is?
Okay, explain to me what misogyny is.
Misogyny is where if you're a man who thinks that they're inferior or that they're superior to a woman, that they put women down because they believe women are inferior to a man.
Mm-hmm. And I just got reported. Okay.
Go read your Bible, Jaden. Go read your Bible. Keep tapping those likes, everybody. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure you click the follow button, everybody.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I am good.
Nice.
Are you,
I have a question for you.
Are you a Christian?
Yeah, most definitely.
All right. What's up?
Are you born in America?
How's that relevant to the conversation?
It has to do with abolishing slavery.
Okay, yeah, sure.
All right. So I was born and raised in America too. So subjectively, we look at slavery as immoral, but that's because man does not know how to properly take care of slaves. In fact, God tells us to be gentle and be generous to our slaves.
Nope.
So what I'm getting at is that we've totally turned the word slave into this big ordeal. But what I'm saying is you subjectively believe morally that slavery is wrong, and then you're calling God immoral.
Well, I don't believe in objective moral truths. I don't think that anyone can prove that something is objectively moral, independent of mind. I believe that morality is all subjective. It's all our opinions. But Exodus 21:20-21 says you're allowed to beat your slave with a rod. You think that's gentle? You think that's not abusing a person?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't read that before. So
You don't know? So, like, God told the Israelites that they're allowed to own non-Israelites as slaves for life. You can own them forever, and you're allowed to. That's slavery.
Right.
And you're allowed to beat your.
Those people would be way better off with the Israelites than anybody else because they have the true God.
So you think it's okay to capture a child and enslave them because it's going to bring that child closer to God?
I don't know. There's circumstances. There's a whole bunch of circumstances. I can't just give an outright answer that's, objective. But yeah, I just think that because
you think that it's better for these foreign children to be bought as slaves and brought into the nation of Israel so that they can become closer to God and owned as property and beaten with a rod?
I don't know if those children were beaten with a rod. We didn't see anything like that in context. So
Exodus 21:20-21. Anyone who beats their male or female slave with a rod must be punished if the slave dies, but they are not to be punished if the slave recovers after a day or two. You're allowed to beat your slave with a rod with no punishment.
Yeah, but that didn't say that you could beat kids with a rod.
But Leviticus says you can buy children as slaves, and it says anyone who beats their male or female slave.
Okay, but male and female. Okay, does it say male and female, or does it say men or women?
It says male or female. And Leviticus 25:44-46 is you're allowed to buy children as slaves.
Okay, I mean, there's slavery today happening, so
I agree. But what's your point? And that's still bad.
What I'm getting at with the slavery part of your thing, Christianity doesn't really support slavery, considering we abolished it in America and Protestants came over here, and
Christians, the Christian Confederate Southerners were the ones who fought to keep slavery alive. There were Christians on both sides. There were Christians.
Did you see how they were treating those slaves?
Yeah, they owned them for life and they beat them, just like the biblical slaves. They were owned for life and they were beaten.
They beat them. What else did they do? What else did they do?
I don't know.
Bad things.
They owned them for. Yeah, I'm sure that the slaves in the Bible were mistreated as well. You're allowed. God supports grape too. Have you read Deuteronomy?
Okay, have you read into that one?
Have you read Deuteronomy 21:10-14, where God says that if you see a beautiful woman,
to go read Deuteronomy,
sir.
Now, why don't you,
sir?
Yeah, I've read that, and yeah,
is that grape? Is that grape? Hello?
No, that's not.
So capturing a woman and taking her to your house, and then you force her to be your wife. That's not capturing and graping a woman.
It doesn't say force.
Yes, she's been captured, sir. She's been kidnapped. Where's the consent there?
Okay.
Where is the consent? This is disgusting. This is disgusting. Where is the consent? And where is where is the consent in being captured? Unbelievable.
All right. Some people don't know what's good for them. People don't know what's good for them.
Oh my
you know
God. I mean? So these women who were captured and forced to be brides, they didn't know what was better for them?
It doesn't say how they treated those wives, does it?
They were captured, and then they were taken to this man's house where he cut off her fingernails so that she couldn't defend herself with her fingernails, cut off her hair, cut her clothes off.
That's not what it says.
Yes, let me read it. Let me read it.
It does say the fingernail thing. No. I know.
That's
it says
why.
the fingernail thing,
That
but
is
if you
why
read
they
to the
cut.
bottom,
If you
read to the
look,
bottom.
what if she does not please him, she can let him go.
No, it's that he's supposed to be with her for all the days of her life.
Yes, that's non-consensual. The woman has been captured, and you slaughter her parents. You slaughter her parents. You capture her. You take her to your house, and you let her cry over her dead family for 30 days that you've just killed. And then after the 30 days, you can go into her and make her your wife. That is against her will. That is not consensual. That is capturing a woman and raping her. And this is what your God supports. Your God supports
Go
this.
to Deuteronomy 22:25, the next chapter.
Are you saying that verse cancels this verse out?
That's saying that grape is wrong. Yes.
Oh, so we have a contradiction in your Bible?
There's no contradictions at all.
You agreed that this was grape in Deuteronomy 21:10-14.
I did not say that. I did not.
So if you capture a woman and you take her to your house and you go into her and make her your wife, that's not grape?
Did you not see the specifications to make her
Sagan?
your wife? You have to go and talk to her father and
Nope,
pay
it
him
doesn't say
50
that.
shekels.
Her father has been killed. Sir, I'm talking about I'm talking about taking a woman married. I'm talking about capturing a woman in battle. What you're referring to is when a woman is raped and the guy has to pay her father 50 shekels of silver, and then the poor woman is forced to marry her attacker. She's forced to marry her rapist, and he cannot divorce her for all her life. I'm not talking about that.
You're pulling that from Deuteronomy 21.
10-14, where God says you're allowed to capture a woman in battle and force her to be your wife.
And it says right after that you have to go and console her father and pay him 50
Her father and mother are dead. Her father and mother are dead.
What are you talking about? No, it doesn't say
When
that.
you go, let me read it. Let me just read it, okay?
All right.
Hold on, my computer's all right. When you go out to battle against those who hate you, and the Lord your God gives them to you, and you make them go with you, and you see a beautiful woman and have a desire for her as a wife, bring her home to your house. There she will cut off all the hair from her head and cut her nails. She will change the clothes she wore when you took her away and stay in your house. She will have sorrow for her father and mother for 1 month. After that, you may go into her and be her husband, and she will be your wife.
Keep reading.
If you are not pleased with her, you should let her go wherever she wants, but do not sell her for money or act as if she were a servant, because you have put her to shame.
Okay, keep reading. Just finish it.
If a man, my computer's freezing up here. If a man has 2 wives, one loved, it's frozen. Hold on a second. You're thinking of 2 different verses here. There's a verse. Oh, here we go. What the fuck? Okay, if a man has 2 wives, one loved and the other not loved, and both the loved and the one not loved have borne him sons, and that the firstborn son belongs to the wife and who is not loved, on the day when the man divides what he has for his sons, he cannot make the firstborn of his loved wife the firstborn before the son of the wife who is not loved, who is the firstborn. He must respect the firstborn, the son of the wife who is not loved. You want me to keep going?
No, you're good. You're good. I thought it was going to mention the 50 shekels thing.
That is a completely entire different verse. There's a verse.
Okay.
There's
You're
a
right,
verse.
You're right. No, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You're right, bro. I'm not trying to argue with you.
Sagan, there is a verse.
It's
I can't.
by the way.
Okay, I can't think of it off the top of my head, but there is a verse where it says if a man is caught graping a woman and she is not engaged to be married, he must pay the father 50 shekels of silver, and the woman is forced to marry him. He cannot do it.
Okay, hold on. Before you do that, will you please, for the love of God, go to Deuteronomy 22:25.
My computer is acting up. What does it say?
It says that if a man lies with a woman and forces her, then he is to be put to death. But the damsel is not to be put to death, for there is no sin in her.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, but the rape what I'm referring to is about when God is instructing his soldiers out in battle. You're allowed to take a woman in battle and capture her and take her to your house and force her to be your wife. That is the grape I'm referring to.
Okay.
That is grape.
Okay.
Like you said it wasn't. You said that's not grape, right?
What? Like, well,
If
obviously, if you force somebody, it's non-consensual, so of course it's rape.
Okay,
But
then God supports grape. Because God told his soldiers that
Why-
they are allowed to capture women in battle and take them to their house. And after they cry for their dead parents for 30 days, you can go into her and make her your wife.
Okay. All right, I hear your point. But did you hear my point on Deuteronomy 22, verse 25?
Yes, that is like for God's own chosen people, his fellow Hebrews. He does not want them raping each other. But he does allow his soldiers to go out in battle and utterly destroy whoever they're fighting against and take captives. And if his soldiers see a beautiful woman, he can take her to his house and force her to be his wife. That's capturing a woman and raping her.
Okay, so what about Genesis 34 when it talks about Dinah, Jacob's daughter?
I'm not familiar with that verse. Let me look it up.
Okay, well, I'll let you know. So basically, Dinah.
What is it? Genesis
Jacob's
what?
daughter. Genesis 34.
My computer is acting up. Now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, had born to Jacob, went out to visit the women of the land. When Shechem, son of Hamor, the Hivite, the ruler of the heirs, saw her, he took her and raped her. His heart was drawn to Dinah, daughter of Jacob. He loved the young woman and spoke tenderly to her. And Shechem said to his father, Hamor, give me this girl as my wife. When Jacob heard that his daughter Dinah had been defiled, his sons were in the fields with his livestock, so he did nothing about it until they came home. Then Shechem's father, Hamor, went out to talk with Jacob. Meanwhile, Jacob's son had come in from the fields. As soon as they heard what had happened, they were shocked and furious because Shechem had done an outrageous thing in Israel by sleeping with Jacob's daughter, a thing that should not be done. But Hamor said to them, my son Shechem has his heart set on your daughter. Please give her to him as your wife. Intermarry with us, give us your daughters, and take our daughters for yourselves. Where is this anywhere in here that God says that that he's going to punish them for this?
Okay, it's at the end of that chapter where so what happened was they went and got circumcised, right? All the people of the nation of the nation that they defiled his daughter. Well, the two older brothers went out and slaughtered all of them after they circumcised themselves, and Jacob scolded them for murdering.
So where does God punish somebody for this?
So what I'm saying is that rape and murder are both wrong in God's eyes.
Well, where does God punish somebody for this story? Because I can give you a verse where God supports his soldiers raping women.
All right, give me that verse.
Deuteronomy 21, 10 through 14.
But that's so.
You don't think that's grape?
I just don't see
Okay, if somebody saw your mother, let's use your mother for example. Then I want to hear you tell me that this isn't grape. If somebody attacked your mother's village, and took her captive and thought she was beautiful and desired her for a wife and killed your mother's parents, took her to his house and cut off her nails, cut off her hair, and let your mother mourn for her father and mother for 1 month. After that, he goes into your mother and forces her to be his wife. At that point, has your mother been captured and raped?
I don't know. I'd have to go and find out and ask her.
You don't know if your mother has been captured and raped, if she's been forcefully taken and brought to a man's house, and then he goes into her and makes her his wife. You don't know if your mom has been raped at that point?
I would have to talk with her. How would I know unless I have verbatim knowledge? I can't base it all off of
this is so disingenuous right now. You know that your mother has not consented to this. Your mother has been captured, her family has been slaughtered, and the guy takes her to his house and keeps her captive for 30 days and lets her mourn for her dead parents for 30 days, and then he goes into her and forces her to be his wife. Your mother has not. There's no consent. There's nothing consensual about this. And if there's nothing, if there is nothing consensual,
we need to say, I honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I'm gonna have to go and study Deuteronomy 21 to see what it's really about. I can't just go out and just give you my thoughts when I don't have any knowledge on the topic of Deuteronomy 21.
All right, go read it.
All right, and then.
Guys, I'm having some issues with my laptop here, guys. I don't know what's going on here. I hope you guys have been enjoying this live stream. Hit it. I already turned it on and off again. It's old. It's probably like 12 years old. I need to get a new one. But yeah, okay. Let's take a couple more guests here, and then I'll have to get going here. I really appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you guys are following the live stream. Follow me here if you've enjoyed this content so far.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. So you said that God supports.
I'm sorry. You just have a really noisy background, guys. Guys, please make sure you're like in a quiet place, because it's really annoying if you have headphones, and if people who are listening, they don't want to hear all the noisy background. So make sure you guys are in a somewhat kind of quiet place, and make sure that you're 18 plus, and only send a guest request if you disagree. All right, guys.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? How old are you?
I'm 18.
What's a W-2?
What?
What's a W-2?
I mean,
Make sure you guys are 18 plus. All right, guys. Make sure you guys are 18 plus. You can't be you got to be 18 to be on TikTok Live. Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Awesome. So I just wanted to ask you, like, why are you doing this? Like, what's it like? And this is no flame or anything. I'm literally curious.
I just like having conversations with Christians and making them think about their beliefs.
Okay. So I see you don't believe in God.
Yeah, I'm an atheist.
Why is that?
I'm not convinced that any gods exist.
What is your proof of that?
I didn't make a positive claim.
What do you mean?
I didn't make a positive claim. I just said I'm not convinced any gods exist.
You're not convinced. So what would convince you?
I don't know. It's your God. I can't tell you what the evidence of your God would be.
Who's my God?
Oh, well, do you have a God?
I do, but you're presumptuous in saying that it's my God. Do you
Well,
know
like,
God?
yeah, well, like your God is not everybody's God, right? So it's
I don't know.
definitely
You tell me.
It's definitely one thing we know for sure. One thing we know for sure that it is your God, right? We know that.
One thing there is a God.
Okay.
But there's many gods, and people worship all kinds of things, right?
Are you a Christian?
I have been a Christian.
Do you?
I wouldn't call myself a Christian, but I do believe in the Creator and that there's a Father.
Do you worship the God of the Christian Bible?
I don't know if I could say I worship the God of the Christian Bible because I'm not a Christian.
Yeah, I'm just looking to speak with Christians.
So this is the thing. I've been listening for a while, and
I'm just looking to speak with Christians. That's why it says Christianity supports the following.
I was a Christian. I hope you don't.
Yeah, but you're not currently a Christian though.
Well, but I believe in the God of Abraham. Is that good enough?
So you believe in the God of the Bible.
I guess you could say that. Yeah. So we can go.
Well, you just said that. You just said that.
Okay, that's cool.
The Abrahamic God is the God of the Bible.
Yeah.
So I didn't say that. You just said that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that moniker.
Yeah. Okay. So the God of the Christian Bible, the Abrahamic God, he supports slavery, rape, and murder.
So that's where I kind of have a problem with what you're saying and how you're phrasing the thing. The God of the Bible, first of all, we need to define what God is. And God is the creator of all things. So, for instance, if you were to, let's say you went to go to lunch and you decided you want to eat a Hot Pocket, and you made it from scratch. And then one day you decided, when you made the Hot Pocket, you was like, I don't want to eat this anymore. And you decided to go and take a crap on it and throw it in the street. And then the other Hot Pockets around was like, hey, that's not right. But you created it. Can't you do whatever you would like to do with your creation?
Oh, are you done? The Christian God supports slavery, rape, and murder. Where would you like to
But
start?
my point is that he's the creator of all things. He also said once a man dies, he's appointed to judgment. So I think that the context of this conversation needs to be put in place that we are in prison. This is not paradise. We all have see, that's disrespectful.
Well,
I'm gonna listen to you.
the Christian God supports slavery, rape, and murder. Where would you like to start?
I'm not saying that I'm saying that in.
So let's start with a topic.
Okay.
Stop preaching. Stop preaching, and let's start with the topic.
Preaching. I'm just speaking truth. The slavery
Okay,
in
slavery,
that time,
yeah.
slavery in the
So-
time that slavery in that time. The reason why there was slavery is because it wasn't just practiced by quote unquote Israelites. It was atheists. It was pagans. It was all kinds of people that were doing
Right.
slavery.
The topic is did God support
so
slavery?
that means that God supported slavery for everyone.
Oh, okay.
correct?
We agree. We agree then. God supports slavery. Okay, we agree.
He did support slavery.
All right,
but
we agree.
He put
So-
rules. He put rules in place.
Yep,
So that
I agree.
So that slavery was done in a certain way. Because
Yes,
guess what?
yes.
God gave us all free will.
God
You, the
supports
atheist,
slavery.
don't
We
believe-
agree. Okay, we agree. God supports slavery. Let's go on to grape. Does God support grape?
Wait, no, let's not do that. Let me
But we
finish.
agree. I agree with you. God
It's not
supports
about- but
slavery.
It's not about agreeing. It's about putting
But
in
it's
context
join
for-
if
for
you
the people that are
disagree.
listening, because you're trying to push me along.
Sir,
because
sir.
you want me to fit the narrative.
Sir, relax.
Sir.
Relax. It's join if you disagree.
Relax. You're not letting me talk.
Calm
you're not
down.
letting me finish what I got to say because you're trying to push me along.
Because we agree that God supports slavery. So it's join if you disagree. So if we agree on that topic, let's move on to the next topic.
Wait,
right?
no.
Nobody
because you
wants
have
to sit
people
here and listen.
You have people listening on this live that are listening to you, and you're trying to paint a narrative about the creator that is not true. And that's
Okay,
why I'm here.
but nobody
Because,
wants to sit here.
He condones, and when you talk
Yes,
about
I
assault
agree.
on women, so moving forward, there was also a lot of assault that was happening by atheists, pagans.
So does God support grape or not?
No, he didn't support it.
Okay, so like if somebody saw your mother in a battle and desired her for a wife and captured her and took her to his house and let her cry for her dead parents that you just killed, and after 30 days he goes into her and makes her his wife. At that point, has your mother been captured and raped?
At that point, she's been captured and assaulted. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So God told his soldiers that they're allowed to do this in times of war in Deuteronomy.
Yes, he did. Because
Okay,
guess what?
we agree.
Guess
We
what?
agree.
But guess what?
We agree.
Guess what? Listen, let me
Listen, I'm only looking to speak with people who disagree, and you're agreeing with me on everything.
Let me say something, please.
But
Can-
nobody
give
wants
me
to
that
sit here.
respect?
Nobody wants to sit here and listen to us talk about
No, you
something
don't
that we
wanna-
agree
no,
on.
What you don't want to listen to is context and the truth.
But we agree,
what
though.
you want to do is paint a picture because you're an atheist and God hasn't struck you dead yet because you don't believe in Him.
But we
he
agree.
could.
But we
He could
agree.
do
So
that
let's
any
move
day.
on. We agree. So let's move on. Murder. Let's move to murder now. Nobody wants to sit here and listen to us talk about something that we both agree on.
You can't say what people want to listen. You don't want to, and that's fine.
I'm telling you, nobody wants to sit here and listen to us
I'm
talk
sure
about
there are
something that
people
we
on this
both
live
agree.
that agree with what I'm saying and would love to hear what I
Yeah,
have to
like
say.
it's join if you disagree. So we both agree God supports slavery. We both agree God supports grape. So let's move on to murder. It's join if you disagree. So nobody wants to sit here and listen to us talk about something
Okay.
that we agree
I
on.
see, and I understand. So yes, let me play the game for you. Yes,
Okay.
God allows for slavery, just like He allows you to be an atheist.
Yep.
God allows for you to say fuck and everything else you said earlier on this live, just like He allowed me to say it just now. God also allows for people to get raped and murdered and die, because everybody dies. Everybody has hardships in life, because that's called life. That's called being in a fallen state.
Right.
This is why He tells you.
So
that
does
you
God
need
support
Him.
murder or not?
So God allows for murder. God also, let me tell you what else God said in
Sir,
the Bible. He said
stop.
that He allows
preach
evil
mode.
too.
Preach mode. Preach mode.
Did you hear me?
Preach
He
mode
allows
activated.
evil. He said that too.
Preach mode.
That doesn't bother me, man. God said He allows evil. So that
Yeah, okay.
sums up everything
So-
that you just said.
So you agree? You agree with me?
Murder,
You agree?
He allows
Yep.
evil. and He
You agree
does
with
it.
all that. You agree God supports all those things.
I said that God allows it all.
No,
That's
no.
what I
You said
said.
God supports slavery. You said
I didn't
God
say that.
supports.
I didn't
Oh,
say
really?
that. I
Oh,
said
really?
He allows
Okay.
it. Just like He allowed you to be an atheist.
Well, this whole entire conversation is going to be posted on the entire conversation will be posted on my YouTube. And Anthem, you can go back and see where you were wrong and that I was right.
You haven't
that
proven anything, man.
That you did say that God supports slavery and God supports rape.
I said God allows it.
No, you said support. You can go back and watch it.
Well, I must have misspoke. I'm telling you that he said.
I'm gonna clip it. I'll clip it.
That he'll. Okay. Well.
No. Wait. You said you misspoke. You said you misspoke.
Maybe I misspoke.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
All I'm saying is that I'm saying that he does allow it. He allows all these things. He allows babies to die when they shouldn't. It's all kind of things that happen. But to say that, so what is your point? He's still the creator. He's
because
still on his
I would
throne.
argue that not only does God allow slavery, rape, and murder, I would argue that God condones and instructs and commands in some cases these things. So it's not just a.
Yes.
Then we agree.
Yes, he does. But
we agree.
But you're only bringing this up because you're trying to say that. Well,
we agree. We're just wasting our time here. Like guys, only send a guest request if you disagree. Only join if you disagree, guys. We agree. We agree. That's fine. Please only join if you disagree. Yeah, he's confused. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, are you a Christian that are you using Bluetooth?
Yeah, sorry, man. I didn't realize I hit it. Carry on, dude.
Huh?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. I was driving down the road and I guess.
You can't say you're driving. It's one thing if it sounds like you're driving, but once you say that you're driving, I have to kick you out. Guys, please don't say that you're driving. Wait, this is gonna be the last guest, guys.
No, I'm the last guest?
Yeah.
All right, man. You're going to go to bed crying. All right, so yeah.
Wait. How old are you?
21.
Okay, what you got for us?
No. Why? I sound young?
Well, it's just for TikTok. TikTok says you can't be on the live if you're not 18.
Trying to date me? Typical atheist.
Okay, troll.
No, I'm not a troll.
Yep, troll. Last guess, guys. Last guess. Okay, Beans.
Yo, hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, how old are you?
18.
What's a W-2?
Work form, tax form.
Okay, what you got for us?
All right, so I was listening to your points about slavery and rape, and I think you're taking things out of context. In Deuteronomy 22, it does say to take away these women, and it does instruct the Israelites to kill these people. But did you read the other parts where it talks about what these people were doing to each other? Sacrificing virgins, babies.
Well,
I was just thinking out things out of context now.
So, like in Deuteronomy 21:10-14, that's the one I'm talking about, where God says you can capture a woman in battle and force her to be your wife.
Correct, it does say that. But do you realize what these women and men were doing before?
Right, but would you consider that to be rape, though?
Yes, as punishment.
Okay, so God supports using grape as punishment.
In that circumstance, yes, because they were evil.
Okay, so God supports grape. We agree. Fine, we agree.
He doesn't support grape. He allowed that to happen as their punishment.
No, you just said he supports it.
No, but when you say he supports it, you're making it seem like he's for it. Like he's like
he is. He told right. You just said he's for doing that for punishment.
Okay, but hypothetically, you don't believe in God, do you? Right? You say you're an atheist.
Well,
right?
You're pivoting now. You're pivoting. What's this pivot?
No. I'm about to make a point, and I'm open to be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. But hypothetically speaking, let's say you believe in God, right? And you believe in God, and let's say hypothetically you believe in the God of the Bible, and the Bible says our God is all good, it can never be evil. So if hypothetically you believe in God and He instructs you to do this, is He doing something wrong? If you believe in the Christian Bible,
I would never worship this God. Even if you were to prove to me that this God is real, I would never worship or follow this God's commands.
But again, I understand it says that women are captured. Yes, of course, I wouldn't be able to do that. Wait.
So we agree.
He gave these people, he gave the people that were worshiping Baal, that are ripping out babies out of wombs and sacrificing to Baal as a punishment. Do you believe in punishment?
Yeah, but not using grape as punishment. No.
Do you believe in punishment and death penalty?
I'm still kind of on the fence about that. I don't have a solid position on that.
Okay.
It's not unjustified murder.
Okay.
There's a difference between justified and justified. But the whole thing is, it's not. there's a really bad connection here. I don't know what's going on here. But the whole thing is whether God supports it. God supports grape, and you agreed with me that he does support grape, whether it's through punishment or whatever. I don't care. However you want to try to twist it, you agree that God supports grape. Only send a guest request if you disagree. Only join if you disagree, guys. The last 2-3 people have come up here and have agreed with me that God supports these things. Please only join if you disagree. Make sure you guys click the follow button if you've enjoyed this live stream. We did get an age restriction earlier. That's why it's tapped out at like 300 something. So we're not getting like a For You push page right now. But if you guys have enjoyed this live stream, if you want to go back and watch the full live stream, I'm going to post it on my YouTube. So make sure you guys go subscribe to my YouTube. The link's in the bio. If you're looking for something interesting to listen to in the background while you're driving or cleaning or working, if you're looking for some new content to listen to, consider going and checking me out on YouTube. I have all my full live streams on there. They're pretty entertaining. And if you were a guest here today on my live stream and you want to go back and watch our conversation and you want to go back and see where you were wrong and where I was right, you can go back and watch the full live stream. Go ahead and send a guest request. Subscribe to my YouTube on there. Evan, thank you for the $20 on Cash App. Thank you so much, Evan. I really appreciate you, Evan. You're awesome, man. Thank you so much. W. Evan in the comments, guys. W. Evan, he's amazing. He's an amazing supporter. I really appreciate all the support that you gave me, Evan. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you. That's too kind, man. Too kind.
Yo, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, how old are you?
18. September 10th, 2005.
What's a W-2?
Oh, sorry, what do you mean?
What's a W-2?
What's a W-2? What are you talking about?
All right, I'm sorry. I don't believe that you're 18, man. All right, last guess, guys. I'm trying to get like one more decent conversation going here. My laptop is like fried. I don't know what's going on with it. Orthodox Defender says, stop ignoring and let me join. Okay, I'll bring you up. I have like a bunch of guest requests, and TikTok doesn't put you guys in order, so I just pick randomly. Hello, how old are you?
Hello, okay. I'm 16, if you don't mind.
You gotta be 18 plus. You gotta be 18 plus, guys. It's TikTok rules, and I don't feel like talking to children. All right, guys, we're having trouble getting a guest request here. Hello, Leo?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I just missed you. Can you hear me? Okay, yeah. So, what's the deal here? I have to disagree with what you say.
Can you read it?
Yeah, murder, G-rape, and hold on. My phone is acting up too, and so I don't know what G-rape is.
It's just rape, but I just say grape for TikTok because TikTok doesn't like the R word, so I just say G.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that murder. I mean, seriously, you're gonna associate that to?
Oh, hold on, Leo, you gotta stop moving around.
Everybody murders, even before.
Leo, stop moving around, but come back to the microphone. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, but you're real muffled.
Okay,
there you
can
go.
Hear me now?
Yeah, stay just like that. Don't move because you were muffled.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, murder existed before even religion came down to earth.
But are you a Christian?
Even it happened to. No, I'm Muslim.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just looking to speak with Christians. It says Christianity. I mean, what are you doing here?
Well, see,
how old was Aisha? How old was Aisha?
I'm 44. I'm not sure.
How old was Aisha?
How old is Aisha?
Yeah.
How old is she? Who was the wife of the Prophet Muhammad?
Yep.
So this doesn't have to do with the religion. You can talk to an atheist or whatever.
Wait, how old was she? How old? No. This is for Christians. This is for Christians, and you want to come up here as a Muslim and try to take over. Like, how old was Aisha?
So what? Because I'm not Christian.
How old was Aisha, Leo?
Because why you have those horns on Jesus? I don't know.
How old?
I don't know
How old was Aisha?
What do
You know how old she
when
was.
passed
How old
away?
was? How old was God's greatest messenger's wife?
How old is she now?
How old was God's greatest messenger's
How
wife?
old when they got married? How old when she died? Or what?
How
what do
old
you
were
mean?
they, How old when they got? How old were they when they got married? Yeah. How old was she?
I don't know how old she was. I
Come
don't
on,
remember.
man. You need to study your
But,
faith more. You need to. Wait, isn't it? Isn't it?
man, listen,
Wait,
listen.
aren't all Muslims supposed to
We're talking
memorize the
about
Quran?
You're talking about your subject, right? We're talking about your subject. Don't jump somewhere else, okay?
Well, no.
If you
This
want,
is.
we can
But you're a
talk about
Muslim,
Islam
though.
after
But
we can.
you're a Muslim. I don't want to talk about
Why
Christianity
you
with a
have-
Muslim.
Yeah, I'm Muslim, and I feel bad because you have horns on the picture of Jesus, which you don't even know if
but
he looks like
Jesus.
that for real or
Jesus
not.
was just a.
But why
But
you have
Jesus.
horns on?
Jesus was just a prophet to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you care? It's not your God.
Still, because as a Muslim, you have to believe in all God's prophets, all
Whoa.
his books. Yeah,
Oh, all of God's
Did you
prophets.
Know,
Oh,
let me
okay.
give you a piece of let me give you a piece of information. Did you know that Jesus is mentioned in the Quran more than Muhammad?
Really? What surah names Jesus?
Plenty of them.
Which one? Name
Plenty
one.
of them.
Name one.
Is mentioned. Not.
Which one?
Did you know that there is
Which one mentioned? Which one
Plenty
names?
of them.
Which one names Jesus? Give me one.
Al-Baqarah,
What is it?
Al-Ma'idah?
No, give me the
Well,
verse.
I'm not gonna.
What verse?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not. I don't.
Yeah, you don't know
it
shit.
by heart. I
You
know.
don't know. You don't know shit.
I just told you where you find it. I
Your
just
prophet's a
told you where you can find
pedophile.
it.
Your prophet's a pedophile. Your prophet's a pedophile. Your God is a pedophile. Your prophet is a pervert. How old was Aisha? Aisha was 6, guys. Aisha was 6, and she's believed to be about 9 years old when Allah's greatest messenger consummated the marriage. All right, guys. I really appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to end the live stream right here, guys. I do got some things I got to do. I might be back on later tonight in a few hours, maybe later in the evening. So if you guys want to make sure that you get the notification that I'm going live or see me up in the live stream box, make sure you click the follow button, everybody. I really appreciate you. Excuse me. Thank you for the gifts, guys. Come here, Champ. Say hi. Say hi to Champ. What's up, Champ? What's up, Champ? Say hi. W Champ. W Champ in the comments, guys. All right, everybody. I'll see you guys later. I might be back on later in the evening. We'll see. But make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube, guys. Appreciate y'all. Love you guys. Evan. Love you, Evan. Thank you so much, man. You are too kind, Evan. I really, really appreciate the support, man. I appreciate that. If this was blasphemy, good, because it was a blast for me too. I had a lot of fun, and I might see you guys later. So.